Many women have gotten way too comfortable speaking about their husbands or men in general with open resentment. They say things out loud that should make them pause and rethink saying it publicly. And that comfort they have, it exists because they know there's no accountability.
Am I the only one that's like this? Probably not. But when my husband is sick, he's been puking all night. Even if he has a cold, for some reason, the rage inside me is such a fiery rage. And I know there's nothing he can do about it to control it. But it just makes me so angry. It's so ridiculous that it makes me so angry. So he's been puking all night, so I slept on the couch because he like moans and groans. He's like noisy when he's sick. And I'm gonna try and be a good wife today. I'm gonna try and get him some medicine. I think maybe it makes me so mad because if I'm sick, like, I still like do my thing. Like, I'm still a mom. I still have stuff I have to do. If I'm like super, super sick, I'll like stay in bed, obviously, if I can't even function. But like, me as a person, when I'm sick, like, close the door, leave me alone. I'm gonna do this stuff to help myself get better, and I'm gonna sleep it off. He like, I think it's just the moaning and the like, I'm an awful wife.
You are.
That. And I also can't wait to get it.
Ugh.
And I know I'm not going to get it. I'm going to pound the silver. We're pounding vitamin C.
Ugh.
We're doing all of it. We've got our oils.
You
We've got all our things
suck.
to prevent anybody else from getting this. But we're married and we had a fun night last night. So 3 hours later, he was puking. Please tell me I'm not going to get this.
Yeah, she is just a shitty psycho woman, shitty wife. And moments like this, when a man gets sick, are exactly when you find out like what kind of woman you're dealing with and how much she actually cares about you, right? Is she going to start to show some of those more feminine characteristics, or is she a modern woman? Here we have a man who is physically ill, and instead of concern, she's turned it into a personal grievance. And I would say because of that, that makes her a modern woman. That confirms it. He's puking all night, and somehow she is the one who's most affected and also pissed off. So there's clearly no nurturing impulse. There's no softness, no patience. Actually, she's angry. She has a fiery rage toward her own husband for being sick. It's insane. It's insane behavior from this woman. And then she launches into kind of like self-worshiping herself, talking about how much better she handles sickness. Oh, how responsible she is when she's sick. How she still pushes through. How she's still a mom. How much she has to carry. Casting herself as this hero. And then talking down to him like he's weak and annoying. Oh, he groans, he moans, he makes all these noises. And that like hierarchy that she's built in her imagination, she's built in her head, is exactly what fuels her anger. She thinks, well, when I'm sick, I handle it. I'm up here. When he's sick, he's down here. This makes me better than him, and I hate him for that. Fucking ridiculous. Childish. And she can't even keep her own story straight. So she mentions that when she's sick, she says she still does her thing and handles her responsibilities. And then she says when she's sick, she wants the door to be closed. She wants to be left alone and to sleep it off. So, I mean, that's a contradiction, right? And it clearly doesn't register to her because it doesn't matter. All of that stuff, it's just bullshit to justify why she's so hateful. And like I mentioned at the top of this video, what is wild is how comfortable she feels posting this. Nobody asked her. This is completely voluntary. If a man went online and said, he was furious at his wife for being sick, people would assume abuse. Authorities might even get involved after the women online dox him and call 911. Oh, but she posts it proudly. And yeah, that confidence comes from knowing that no one ever holds her accountable. And this whole thing, it ties into the whole man flu, right? That whole thing coined by feminists. That men exaggerate their sickness. But the reality is simple. Men actually do experience sickness more intensely. So testosterone, it suppresses immune response. And then estrogen supports it. So for men, symptoms hit harder. Recovery takes longer. The suffering is real. It's not fake. And instead of understanding that, she reacts with disgust because his vulnerability annoys her. Actually, it triggers rage. And she literally can't hide it. It's so strong, she has to tell the world. Really awesome women we have here.
I just need to know what's going on with this current generation of men. Because tell me why I was on the train and it was really packed. There was this little old lady who had a walker and she needed a seat. And there was one seat left in between me and this other guy. He moved over to give her the seat, but there still wasn't enough room for her. So I just got up and I was like, here, you can move down so she could fit. And instead of him saying, no, you sit down and I'll stand, he's like, thanks. And then anytime I'm in a plane, no guy is helping me put my carry-on in the overhead bin. There is an apocalypse of sassy men. Chivalry is dead. And I don't know when this would happen, but it's really weird.
With this, here's the real story, right? This was never about the old lady because there was already a seat open and middle, like she said. So, the guy, he did move over to give her space. And then this woman stood up and gave her even more room. So the elderly woman was accommodated early in the situation. That part was handled. What this woman expected to happen next, that is the actual issue. She believed that because she stood up, the man should have immediately responded with, oh, no, you sit down, pretty little thing, little lady, I'll stand. Purely because she's a woman and he's a man in a public setting. She expected a gender-based privilege to activate, and when it didn't, she felt wronged. So this story, it centers on her, not the elderly lady, which I fully support, helping the elderly. We should always look out for our elders, both genders, by the way. That part is obvious, but this young woman, though, she can go ask the bear for a seat and some chivalry as well. I'll tell you where this guy actually messed up. When he said thank you. When he said thank you to her. Because that response validated her expectation. It kind of framed her decision to stand as something done for him instead of something she chose to do. By saying thank you, he reinforced her belief that she was owed something in return, or she did something. And this ties directly into what I think most people misunderstand about feminism. Many people think that it was about equality, right? But when you go back and you read the literature, that idea falls apart. There's a book written in 1913, 1-3. And it was written by Belfort Bax. And even back then, he pointed out that feminism demanded equality and privilege at the same time. This wasn't some flaw discovered later down the road. It was identified at the beginning as a core component. They never wanted full equality with men. And so that whole trope of women want equality only when it benefits them is more true than people realize. So it's not a bug, it's a feature. And it explains why this behavior keeps repeating itself. And he pointed out this contradiction in the ideology very early on. They pursue equality only when it benefits them, and they pursue privilege when it benefits them. And like her, they will resist any inconvenience when a man is nearby who could have absorbed it for them. And that's why I believe when men continue to hand out these privileges, it only reinforces this behavior. If privilege is on the table, there has to be something in return. Because men do not exist to subsidize ideology. If special treatment is expected, something better come back the other way. Otherwise, you get this, entitlement.